Hey loved ones, I'm Keyosha. It's pronounced Keyosha, meaning key of the ocean. I'm a life coach and a motivational speaker, known for my company Key Coaching, which focuses on self-betterment. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you what I've learned from being a coach. I'll provide you the keys not just to survive, but to thrive. Hey, and welcome back to Wisdom Wednesdays. Today we will be discussing the topic of the imposter syndrome. Yes. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but I'm just going to suggest from now, grab your notebook, grab your pen. It's going to be a bumpy ride. The imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting yourself, doubting your abilities, and feeling like a fraud. Believe it or not, it disproportionately affects high-achieving people. So I am just going to tell the personal story of when I didn't know that this was happening to me, but it was happening to me. Story time. So when I was younger, I was learning really fast. I accredit it solely to my older brother. And shout out to my brother DJ. Yeah, I have a brother named DJ. Stop judging. And he was just learning everything. And then he started like teaching me some really cool things. And so people thought I was smart. I pretty much was like skating by on people thinking that I was smart. Like people were really like, wow, she's smart. She's ready for kindergarten. She could probably go to grade 1. She might even be able to skip senior kindergarten. She might not need it. And so I kind of was picking up on things really quickly. I admit it, but I wasn't emotionally mature and things like that. And there were many reasons why I didn't skip a grade. Sometimes I regret that because, that means retiring 1 year early in my mind. But I entered into senior kindergarten and grade 1, 2, and 3 as scheduled. And eventually I felt like it was kind of getting boring. Like I was doing well, but I didn't feel like doing well anymore. And I was starting to do things to entertain myself because it didn't feel difficult. And I was pretty much the class clown, like actually making jokes and choosing to make people laugh instead, because you get more attention when you make people laugh. When you're the kid who's behaving, doing their schoolwork and their homework before they even leave school, the Tyler Thibodeaus of the world, they become really appealing because they're making people laugh. Even though you're in grade 3 and you don't understand like the whole concept of curriculum and academia, your first thought isn't your academics. You're pretty much just like, how do I connect with my peers? So when you're misbehaving, you get more attention. You're being bad, teacher takes you out of class. They're like, I need to talk with you. What's going on? You have so much potential. I only laugh because I heard it a lot of times. And I just wasn't listening or I wasn't believing it. But you do get told that you have a lot of potential when you have a lot of potential, but you're letting it go to waste. And so even if you get back on track and you start doing well, unfortunately, dependent on your support circle or the individuals that surround you, whether or not it be the authorities, like your teachers, guidance counselors, principals, peers, and parents, you may get attention or praise for good grades, but you may not. That might just be the standard in the household. Like I saw an African TikTok and it was talking about your grades. And I feel like I should always be able to at the person, but you know who you are. And they were like, an A means you're average. And I think it was like a B means you're getting beatings, but you still have somewhere to live. And a C means, I don't know, but you get the point. Pretty much when it started getting into like D's and all these other letters, it was like D means do not go home. You know, E means you're evicted. You are homeless. Like it was pretty much A was the standard. And so that praise that might happen with good grades isn't there. And I think that because of that commonality, people can find themselves suffering from the imposter syndrome well into their adulthood. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how better you can be, and no matter how great you get, you still feel like you don't belong there. Especially when you received a sense of belonging from your incredible class clown era, making people laugh, getting that attention that you were starving for from your peers and parents and authority figures. But that clowning around is only a career if you're a comedian. So yes, you can make money from it. But when your occupation as a student or in any form of other employment doesn't call for that clowning around, it can be a form of self-sabotage. It's another word to pay attention to. Lift your pen, use your paper. Self-sabotage refers to when destructive behavior is directed at yourself. At first, you may not even know that you're doing it. But if it becomes a negative habit, and habits just mean there's consistency, it's actually considered psychological self-harm. Now, if we're not familiar with the idea of self-harm, it's usually used in reference of people who, trigger warning, are cutting themselves. It's cutting yourself is a form of physical self-harm. But self-sabotage is a form of psychological self-harm because you're quite literally harming your psyche. You're creating unnecessary trauma where trauma may not even exist. And you're preventing yourself from reaching your full potential. You have the ability to do anything that you put your mind to. I've personally been told that I'm really great at playing piano or writing, even though I really don't enjoy writing that much. But when I put my mind to it, with the right amount of pressure, 'cause you don't want to be homeless, so you want to graduate and do well in English class. Pressure makes diamonds. So you genuinely can apply your own pressure to yourself in what you want to be prosperous in, and then reach your full potential or more. So the reason why this imposter syndrome and self-sabotage are such important topics to discuss is because, number one, I think that our psyches become really familiar with the imposter syndrome at a very young age. There's many reasons why we don't feel we fit in, even as an adolescent. And then we get the chance to not be an outcast and feel like we're fitting in. And it's not something that you want to let go of. And so, like a ping pong ball, we bounce back and forth between the imposter syndrome and self-sabotage, which in itself is detrimental. It's self-destruction. Because even if we're doing well, we're kind of like, wait a second. This is too good to be true. Make it stop. And you just feel really uncomfortable because things are starting to go your way, and it's only the things that you dreamt of. They were happening in your head, and now they're happening in real life, and it's happening so fast, and you're just kind of like almost not ready for it, but it's more of a feeling of like you're undeserving of it. And so I think the only way to recognize that you're experiencing the imposter syndrome is to first recognize that we are all capable of self-sabotage. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I didn't want to misguide you. I could have said reaching our full potential, but we're capable of self-sabotage. And realizing that it's something that we might do is going to give us a fighting chance of stopping ourselves when we're doing it, because we are deserving. So, on that note, I feel it really important to provide you the tool of self-image affirmations. I don't care where you are. I don't care who's around or who can hear you. I mean, if you really want to uphold your human right to privacy, you can go somewhere where someone can't hear you. But I encourage you to repeat after me. I am worthy. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of wealth. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of wealth. I am worthy of abundance. And a third time, I am worthy. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of wealth. I am worthy of abundance. Say it to yourself as many times as you need to hear it. say it until you believe it. Because it is true. You are worthy and deserving. And the sooner you believe it, the sooner you're likely to achieve it. What you think and what you say becomes your truth. And the more that you think it and say it, you pull it towards yourself using the law of attraction. It's going to come to you no matter what, as long as you practice it within yourself and outside of yourself. Say it to yourself and believe it. And then when you believe it, you'll achieve it. You'll receive it. Wealth will come to you. Abundance will come to you. Love will be in and around you. But it starts with you. It starts with you loving yourself enough to recognize that you are worthy of love, wealth, and abundance. Because no matter how uncomfortable it might feel at first, I mean, it's where you always wanted to be, you know? We all strive for success. I'm sure Elon Musk's life, when he started getting to where he was going, felt a little unfamiliar as well. You know? It takes a second to get used to certain things, certain luxuries. But what we don't often remind ourselves of enough is that everything is man-made. Again, I will say, everything around us, if we're thinking of physical wealth and abundance, is man-made. And then more so, our idea of love is made by ourselves. You dictate what love feels like for yourself. So if you think that love is like scary or abusive or dangerous or hurtful, then you're creating that narrative in your mind. And then you're actually honoring that narrative by acting on the imposter syndrome using self-sabotage. But if you train your mind to believe that you are worthy of these things, then you take the first step in the right direction of achieving and receiving these things. You can't achieve or receive the ultimate idea of love if your idea of love is, I am not worthy, this is too much. I mean, you can't be successful and get to where you want to go every time you're like, nah, I shouldn't be here. This doesn't feel normal. I'm not used to it. So make it stop, you know? Obviously those moments happen, but the only person that needs to be aware of you feeling like, wait a second, this is unfamiliar, is you, because only you have your idea of familiar. But even in those moments, you can utilize the affirmation that you are worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of wealth. You are worthy of abundance. And so by training your brain to come to those thoughts organically from the feeling of the imposter syndrome, you're diffusing the bomb. And it becomes less self-destructive. So I feel like there's nowhere to go but up from there. But again, call me a nagging mom. I don't care. It starts with you. So don't forget to remember that. Song suggestion of the week is I Am Light by India Irie. You're going to love it. Thanks for joining me, loved ones. See you next time. Bye.